Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Vivek Ramaswamy calling out Gavin Newsom for only cleaning up San Francisco when China visits, which Gavin Newsom actually said in an interview in front of cameras and real people, which shows you how little he cares. He admits, oh yeah, we have international folks coming over here, so we're going to clean the place up. So they've shown they technically have the capabilities to get their crap together, or at least temporarily. Actually, that's good. Not even a metaphor. That's physically get their crap together, because there's so much excrement from the cultural decay of San Francisco on the ground, they need to physically move that as well and clean it up. Now, Vivek did a tweet, so he had this note before he actually had the interview on CNN, and it, as youth might say, it went viral, getting over 4.6 million views. Now, he specifically says, quote, "You want to know what actual vermin is? It's what crawls around San Francisco daily until Gavin Newsom chose to finally clean it up on a dime in honor of Xi Jinping. This is classic MSM trick. Obsess over some random word Trump said and sanctimoniously condemn him while entirely ignoring the substance of what's killing our country. Won't let them get away with it," unquote. And without further ado, a little clip with Vivek.
That language, they live like vermin. Do you believe that that is, as your Republican colleague Chris Christie has said, neo-Nazi rhetoric?
This is a classic mainstream media move. Pick some individual phrase of Donald Trump, focus on literally that word without actually interrogating the substance of what's at issue.
The word was chosen for a reason.
We are in the middle of a cultural war in this country.
The word was chosen for a reason.
It's actually describing a series of behaviors. You have Antifa and other related groups that have been burning down cities for the last 3 years in this country.
Would you describe them as vermin?
Wildly violating the rule of law. We have an invasion on our southern border. We have millions of people crossing our southern border. Let's talk about the substance of why we have to recognize that we're not in ordinary times.
Would you use that language yourself?
The vocabulary of the vermin or not is not what's important. Well, I haven't used that language. So you can look at my track record on the campaign trail. I talk about the issues. We all talk about them differently. But what I'm not going to do is play some game of focusing on some word that somebody else said without ignoring entirely the substance of what we're actually talking about. A border crisis of historic proportion. Economic stagnation we haven't seen in 50 years. A national identity crisis and the loss of national pride in the next generation that's potentially existential for this country. Let's talk about our dependence on China. Today we're actually talking about Xi Jinping, picking on Donald Trump's word vermin to talk about that status quo. You know what's vermin? What's running around San Francisco on a given day before Gavin Newsom cleaned it up on a dime to roll out the red carpet for Xi Jinping. If he could do that for Xi Jinping, he could have done it on an ordinary day, and yet we're here sitting talking not about the substance of that, but on one word that Donald Trump said in some speech in Miami. This is what's wrong with the mainstream media. Focus on the substance and let's have an actual policy debate rather than talking to a presidential candidate instead of the policy substance of what's actually going on in the country, picking on some word that Donald Trump said on a certain day and asking me for comment on it. Give me a break.
As youth might say, she was roasted by Vivek. And in terms of popularity, that got 4.6 million views on the Twitter, or as 18 people call it X, and 62,000 likes, which is ridiculously popular. Vivek actually did a tweet response to this saying, "Fire Rana," in reference to Ron McDonald, the inept, ridiculously, utterly inept leader of the RNC, which, again, they've lost years in a row under her leadership. I don't know what she's doing, if anything. That got 4.6 thousand likes. Now, getting to the comments made by other people, someone by the name of Final Cut MI says, quote, "They are running out of reporters to throw into the ring with you, my dude. Still undefeated champ," unquote, getting 2.6 thousand likes. Pew Call says, quote, "Vivek is chopping down anchors left and right. Who's next?" unquote. They got 3.1 thousand likes. This individual, Pukalis, also says, quote, "She's blinking, panicking so hard, blink rate went up 3x, unquote, 1.5 thousand likes." James Jeanette says, quote, "Don't let up. Vivek Unleashed is ripping the establishment apart and they hate it," unquote, getting 1.2 thousand likes. Braley Productions says, quote, "Vivek, you are the best at not getting trapped and sidetracked. Vivek for the W." 2.9 thousand likes. Ladisha says, quote, "This should be a common sense yet so refreshing to hear coming from someone who's running for president of the United States," unquote, getting 742 likes. Shadow Facts says, quote, "Look at her face, flabbergasted," unquote, getting 597 likes. Ram Kodoti says, quote, this lady did not expect this, getting 222 likes. I don't think there's any contrarian statements today. Let's keep going. Pragati says, quote, well said, Vivek. They chose not to clean up the mess until Xi Jinping came. I got 423 likes. Practic V says, quote, repeat this again. Vivek is a mix of Trump and Modi, two hardcore nationalists that came from outside the usual political establishment. They are both hated by the mainstream media like Vivek is. They both unlock the power of SM to connect directly with the audiences, unquote. I got 302 likes. Esteban says, quote, finally someone who doesn't fall for the bullshit games from the mainstream media. This guy is strong and focused, unquote, with flexing bicep emoji as well. Got 663 likes. Brickyard says, quote, you're saying what we're all thinking, screaming out, fact-based and common sense. Well done, sir. Got 575 likes. Diabolical System says, quote, I am impressed how this man can continue with his full thought answer while being interrupted, and he doesn't flinch, unquote. 117 likes. So this is perhaps his most positively received tweet in weeks. Because again, I'm not seeing anyone, and again, I'm scrolling to see if there's any contrarian statements or anyone against him. Some people saying they're going to quit inviting him on shows if he keeps this up, which I don't really think that's a pejorative thing against him. Let's see. A lot of people say her career is over. He roasted her. A lot of people saying well played, getting between 30 and 50 likes. On the Joint says, quote, haha, look at her looking at her notes at the end of that, unquote, getting 85 likes. So, as the youth might say, very viscerally, he roasted her and went viral. And I think a lot of people are starting to see the red herring argument and starting to call it out more and more. And starting to ask people, well, why don't you address the substance of the actual issue, not use talking points? It'll be interesting to see, even if Vivek wins President of the United States, how do you fix the culture? How do you fix the politics of places like San Francisco? Would you have to send in the National Guard to clean up the streets? Would you declare national emergency? That's what I'm curious about. I know he does a lot of long format podcasts, and obviously this is a quick television interview, so sometimes he doesn't actually go through his whole game plan. But I would be interested to see and hear what is the idea going forward of how to actually address those issues, because again, it's a multifaceted issue, not just politically but also culturally. So it'll be interesting to see, can you really fix places like San Francisco? But as I always say, time shall tell. Thank you again, everyone, for taking the time to tune in again today. Don't forget to take the time to subscribe. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of November. So if you could click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment is a great way to give me feedback. Let me know how I can make the show better and better and improve the quality. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.